Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much. So I'm just starting the second unit. The reason behind to start the second unit is that the first thing is .NET framework. Okay, so .NET framework is given in the unit number two. Student keep attending. Okay, now fit. Okay, so the thing is that if you go on through the syllabus, we have a syllabus URL here in this thing. So let me show you this thing first. .NET. Yes. So in this .NET framework, we have three things. The first one, .NET framework. Exactly what are the .NET framework? Second thing, we have C sharp. Just like C, C++ programming language, here we have a C sharp. All right. The third thing, we have the console. Some program we develop using a console. The command prompt given by the Visual Studio. What is Visual Studio? Visual Studio is software on which we develop all C sharp program. Not C sharp, it's a very powerful IDE, integrated development environment, which contain the support of many programming languages. Okay. Then we have the window programming, somewhere window form. What is window form? Window form just like a applet you do in Java. Different kind of things we develop using a text box button, etc. So in this paper, in this course, I'm not going you the theoretical thing. I will give you everything is practical. Okay. So see, this theory, this unit is completely theoretical. Nothing is too practical. But beside this, all the unit except the last one are practicals. We try to do everything is practical using Visual Studio, and the second software is SQL Server. All right. So the thing reason is going to start the second unit because it's the first introduction part. In your syllabus, it is capped on the second number, but I'm first starting this unit. Okay. So anyone left? Okay. Tripti Sharma, Shiva Trivedi. Okay, fine. Now, okay. So I'm again revising my statement that all of you advised to mute yourself. At last, we have question answer session. Then we do the question answer and that. And if you have a question, okay, so note the topic and note your question on your notebook or somewhere. Then at last you can answer this one. Okay, and we have two session today. After this session, we take the 15-minute break. Then we dislike the second session. All right, because I have target to bind up this unit today, so that the thing is completely rapidly. All of your syllabus is completed already, but this syllabus is remaining. Okay, so let me start the thing. So what are the content? First of all, see the content. What are the content which have here? Introduction to .NET, common language runtime. These are the terminology .NET framework. What is common language runtime? Common type system, common language specification, the base class library, the .NET class library, intermediate language, just-in-time compiler, garbage collection, and assemblies. These are the terms which are of the unit. Okay, we do the one by one. Okay, someone taking the entry. Please wait. Shiva Trivedi and Ravigiri. Okay. So welcome newcomers, and we are going to start the session after this no one will entry. And I'm advising to you that please do not make any sound, any kind of sound, and enjoy this session. Actually, new thing are there. Everything is new. This is regarding the any software development. Okay. So at last we have question and session. Lot of question I am will ask to you. You are the intelligent person, all of you. In question answer session, I will ask many question to you, and you can ask me any question regarding this session. All right. So let me start the session. So first of all, these content. So first of all, introduction to .NET. What exactly .NET is? It is right as a .NET. Sometimes it is written dot, sometimes it put the dot over here for the .NET. First of thing, you should know that there are two or three service provider which work on the operating service provider means Microsoft is one of the largest one in India. I don't know about the abroad. In India, Microsoft is the largest one. Since the thing we use the window, so every software installed on the window for the development purpose is mandatory for that that software will compatible with the window, because what services they are using, what services they are not using. So Microsoft launched their own technology in 2002. Technology 2002. This is the .NET framework. Okay, so this software is completely compatible with the .NET framework. Student keep attending. So this software is completely compatible with the Microsoft Windows, because Windows is the largest one using in India for the development. And and entire the world, the in India the largest developer are there. Okay, even they are working from in America somewhere else, but they are the largest from India. Okay, so .NET software framework, which is designed and developed by the Microsoft. The first question, who is designed this framework? It is Microsoft. The first version of .NET framework was 1.0, which came in the year of 2002. All right. In the easy word, this is a virtual machine for compiling and executing the program written in different languages like C Sharp, Visual Basic .NET, etc. It is the largest framework. It is the largest framework. I repeating my words. It is the largest framework which supports many languages. Many language. Till now, you see only the framework which support a single native language, just like a Java Hibernate framework support only Java native language. But this language, this framework support many languages, because the person who have the window operating system work on the many languages. So Microsoft provide the compatibility for this. Or like, it is used to develop the form based application, web based application, and web services. Now the advanced version of Microsoft Visual Studio .NET 2019 20, I think 19 is launch. It is you also used for, initially it is used for mobile Android app development. Now the thing they are used for data science and machine learning also, because .NET framework also support the Python. Alright, so this is advanced development of. So in nutshell, we say framework is a kind of collection of classes, all classes, which is used for requirement for the form based application and the web based application, mobile based application, etc. The one thing is web service. What is this? Web service is kind of services where two websites are communicating without accessing their database. For example, if any bank is there, State Bank of India, want to authenticate Aadhaar details. So bank site is different, and Aadhaar card side is different. So what they do, they just create a web service, UDDI, jo Aadhaar services provider. What they do, they will create a web service. So bank will put the Aadhaar number, and UDDI just giving the information, name, parents name, address, etc. So by this web service can be consumed. The word consume will be always associated with the web service. They not accessing entire database, but they accessing only the desired value. In this course, I will later on the unit number third or fourth, this web service is there. I will show you how to create a web service and how to create and consume this one. All right. So in nutshell, framework are all the things collected on one place, which is everything is required to develop any application, known as a framework. It contains all libraries, it contains all predefined classes. No need to get the third party tool. If you remember that in my schooling days, when we run the JSP program, Java servlet, so we need Apache server, third party app. Okay, but here the .NET inbuilt server is there, that is known as IIS servers. All right, that is inbuilt in your Windows 10, Windows 8, and Windows 7. Now, there is a variety of programming language available on .NET platform. Visual Basic, VB for Visual Basic. Before C Sharp, Visual Basic demanded very much. And C Sharp, the most common one. It is used to build application, Windows, phone, web, etc. It provide a lot of functionality and also support the industry standards. What does it mean of industry standards? See, we cannot follow any standard when we have our in universities or colleges. We just take a program, and then what we do, we just start coding, do not follow any standards. But when you go in industry, there are certain standard. You know the term cmm 5 label. So the cmm label will exactly allow you how to write a code. What are the variable name, what are their conditions, what kind of structure you create in your application when you're developing the application, just like a model view controller, if someone hear about it, MVC. So that is a standard. You are just taking that kind of thing. Okay. .NET framework support more than 60 programming languages, in which 11 programming languages are designed and developed by the Microsoft. Means it says that 60 programming languages support by the .NET framework, and in which 11 programming language designed and developed by the Microsoft. All right. So keep in mind that there are a lot of depending on this software. Everyone who is developing somewhere, so it is taking that kind of thing. The remaining non Microsoft languages which are supported by .NET framework but not designed and developed by the Microsoft. All right. So these are kind of language here. Python is not developed by the Microsoft. Keep in mind, it is mistakenly put it over here. Python is not developed by the Microsoft, but it is supported by the Microsoft framework. Even you can develop the Python program for data science and machine learning using the new ID of Visual Studio. I know that some of you aware of Visual Studio. If you don't, so I will give an introduction of Visual Studio in next few classes when we start the second unit of C Sharp.net. All right. Now, the very important thing. What is the architecture of .NET framework? This is many times asked in your semester examination. So make a notes when you have after this class. Okay. So architecture says very good terms are there. Architecture says on the first layer, the top layer, you have the languages. Okay, these languages 70 plus languages. Okay, day by day languages are increasing, so we cannot fix it 70 plus, 80 plus, 90 plus. So on the top of the layer we have Visual Basic, C++, C Sharp, JavaScript, G Sharp, many more languages. After that, most important term, common language specification. What is that? I will explain next few slide. Each term I will explain. Common language runtime, ASP.NET, and web service and web form. These are used for making a website, dynamic website. What is dynamic website? The dynamic website is that kind of website which whose starting windows, whose starting form is a login. Just like you say the Gmail, you say Facebook, these are all dynamic. Dynamic cannot fix anything. Dynamic website cannot fix anything. Just like in Facebook, you will decide who is your friend. You will decide who's like your pic. You will decide who's comment on your photo. So these are the kind of dynamic thing. Means user can control the access side. That is dynamic. Okay. Then we have window form in this layer. So we can see over here. Then we have ADO.NET, very important thing. ADO important data and XML. So for any technology, see my .NET is a technology. Any technology, the database component is very important. Just like in Java, JDBC, same way in .NET we have ADO.NET, ActiveX Data Object. Its full form ActiveX Data Object. Why we put here XML? When there is a no SQL, if you remember in the earlier days 1960 1970, there was a no SQL, means no concept of structural query language. No table is there, no database, so data are stored in XML. So what is XML? You all knows, with the knowledge of web technology. XML is extensible markup language. Here we create my own nodes. Okay, once we create my own nodes, then what happened? We can store data inside that. Then we have base class library, another component. Then very important component, common language runtime. All right. So moving to next slide. These are the architecture. I will explain everything in this unit. What written over there: common language specification, base class library, and common language runtime. Okay, these are all important, and many times these are asked in your semester examination as well as the mid semester examination. Right now, first of all, common language runtime. What is that? The .NET framework provide a runtime environment called the Common Language Runtime. .NET framework provide a runtime environment called, means the runtime means the point where you start the coding, single words, and the point where you got the output. The all time you do every activity comes under runtime environment. So these are known as the common language runtime. So why this put the common language? The question is this. We can say that runtime. Why we say common language? See, Microsoft framework provide the multiple language support. So if two code is written in two different languages, so .NET framework have the capability to merge them and produce a single output. Let's suppose some library written in Python. Okay, so here C sharp can be embedded with that particular library which are in Python and produces single output. All right, that's why we say common language runtime means it is generalized all language with equality and that produces single output. It provide an environment to run all the .NET programs. .NET programs means those languages which are compatible with the .NET. All right, now the code which runs under CLR, always keep in mind common language runtime known as a CLR. Okay, it's a short name called as a managed code. Means the code which is error free, the code which is correct syntax, correct semantics, and give you the correct output, known as the managed code. All right. The programmer need not to worry on the managing the memory if the program are running under the CLR. So one thing, why we put the memory concept over here? Okay, and what management is done by the CLR? Memory concept says any variable which is not using, okay, comes under the garbage. All right, because garbage always full the memory. So the Microsoft .NET framework have the capability to remove the garbage collection automatically. Means the variable which are not in used, that will automatically swipe off from the memory. Okay, so that's why it is say over here that programmer need not to worry on managing the memory if the programs are running under the CLR, and it provide the memory management and thread management. So memory management the part of garbage collection. Thread management means different process running backgroundly. Okay, what is thread? Anyone? I will ask in Q&A session. What is thread? Thread is a part of program of this parallel process. Means what is process? Process is a part of program, and the process when running parallel known as a thread. Okay, so thread have the life cycle, just to wake up, sleep, call, like that. Okay, so thread management done by the .NET framework. Okay, the language compiler, different language support by the Microsoft, so there is a inbuilt language compiler, inbuilt C sharp and VB.NET, Visual Basic .NET. Okay, so these two inbuilt, and if you want more language compiler, so you have to install manually their compiler in .NET framework. So longest compiler like C sharp, Visual Basic, G sharp will convert the code to Microsoft Intermediate Language, another term, MSIL. So when you write a code, then what happens? These compiler compile your program and convert this code to MSIL. All right, this will be converted to native code by the CLR as shown in figure. So what happened? Two compilers are there in Microsoft framework. What's the native compiler, which individually use the C sharp, Visual Basic .NET, G sharp, like that. Someone joining the class. Let me show, then we start. Okay. Aisha Teba. Wow. Latecomers are there. Okay. So what happened? You have two compiler. First one is a native compiler. What is the second one name? I will tell you my presentation. At the end, we have question session. Okay. What we is yes. Okay. Microsoft Intermediate Language. This will be converted to native code by CLR. So when the code is converted to Microsoft Intermediate Language, and this code is converted to native code by CLR. Okay, so code is converted two times. Your code, that it is converted to Microsoft Intermediate Language, first one, then it is converted to native code. Now question is arise: the CLR convert Microsoft Intermediate code to which one? So answer is native code. All right, because this is understandable by the Microsoft.NET framework. Native means your own. Right, now check this one. Check this figure. We have some figure. So here we have different language interactive in the common language runtime, and this runtime will give you the native machine code. Okay, which is understandable by your machine. Okay, so all the thing done by the Microsoft framework. This is the first figure. This is second figure. CLR interact with the runtime. Okay, and native code interact with the operating system and hardware. All right, now this is very important figure compared to last two. Okay, Visual Basic, C Sharp, C++, any other, they have individual compiler. All right, then they have intermediate code. IL means intermediate language, so Microsoft Intermediate Language. All right, IL short form MSIL or IL. Now here we have a second compiler. I told you we have two compiler. First one here, a second one here. This is known as a JIT compiler, just in time compilation. Okay, and common language and time convert MSIL. Check this one. This is MSIL layer. So CLR convert your IL code or MSIL code to native language which interact with the operating system. I'm just giving you once again my line. The language compiler will convert the code to MSIL, yeah, or IL. This will convert it to native code by CLR. All right. So this figure is very important when you explain the CLR in your examination. So this figure is mandatory for you, that all of you will keep this figure in your copies. All right. Now again, most important figure. Okay, code in VB means a person or developer write or code Visual Basic or C Sharp or any other .NET language. So Visual Basic compiler, C Sharp compiler, and any appropriate compiler generate the intermediate language IL, which goes to CLR, common language and time, and it create the machine code, or we can say native code. All right. Now, so now question is arise: what is my Microsoft Intermediate Language code? Let's check. When we compile our .NET program using any .NET component language, just like C Sharp, it does not convert it into executable binary code, but to an intermediate code called the MSIL or IL in short, understandable by the CLR. So what it says when you're running any program in any language, so what it do, the CLR convert your code into MSIL. Okay, so it is an intermediate code. Your code, then CLR convert the intermediate code, and at last the JIT compiler convert this code into native code. Okay, so three code are there: your code, MSIL code, and the native code. Keep in mind, okay, these are very important terms. So MSIL is an OS and hardware independent code. When the program need to be executed, the SML, MSIL or intermediate code is converted to the binary executable code called a native code. Then MSIL is not, is in a hardware independent code, is not dependent on hardware. But who is dependent on hardware? That is native code. And who convert the MSIL to native code? That is JIT compiler, which is inside your CLR. All right. Again, check this one. Okay. Who convert MSIL code? to native code, that is JIT compiler, who convert your code to intermediate code, individual compiler or native compiler. All right. Now, the presence of IL make it possible to cross language relationship. Means just I told you that Microsoft support many languages. So what is written in different languages, what is written in different languages, all code are combined and one native code is produced. That means if you take different one code from C sharp, one code from C plus, so here JIT compiler will provide one unique code which contain the combination of C sharp and C plus plus, and that code interact with the operating system. Alright, that's the beauty of CLR. Now, what is the framework class library? FCL. The .NET framework provides a huge set of framework or base class library for common usual tasks. So what it do, it provides this framework or base classes, means there are different kind of development using the framework, web, Windows, database, web service, mobile. So they provide the framework base classes. Okay, FCL contain the thousands of classes to provide access the Windows API and common function. Okay, so here we are the Microsoft .NET framework accessing the Windows services. For example, if you want to access the running time on your window form, just like you see on website. Website is different thing, website mapped with the web server. Okay, so if you want to put your Windows form running time, so what you do, you should show your dependency on Windows time, the time which is given by the Windows server. All right, so the framework classes interact the Windows API, Windows services. Okay, here a simple example is giving a string manipulation, common data structure, input output, streams, thread, security, network. So time is another kind of network example. Windows programming, web programming, data access. These kind of thing when you do want to do that thing. When you want to access the calendar. Okay. So calendar based on the Windows. What Windows timing shows you, what window default date shows you. Let's suppose I put my calendar on window form. So when I run my calendar, the default date to be selected on calendar, that is your current date, and that date provided by you Windows. So framework classes directly or indirectly uses the Windows services. Just like if you want to compose your mail, so you know SMTP protocol, which is inside your Windows. If you see the window component using the control panel, you see the SMTP protocol, which generate the mail from your Windows. Okay, now so it is a simply largest, it's a continuation on it. It is a simply largest standard library ever shipped within any development environment or programming language. The best part of this library, it is they follow the extremely efficient object oriented design. You know what is object oriented? We use a feature of object oriented. And these are the design pattern, means we are split our code in object oriented manner, just like class, method, object, polymorphism, inheritance, and based on this, because C sharp support the object oriented programming. All right, and make their access and use very simple and predictable. You can use the classes in FCL in your program just as you use any other classes, and can even apply inheritance and polymorphism on these. So as I told you, the object oriented approach follow the object oriented feature, just like inheritance, polymorphism. And I know you guys are know what these terms are, what is inheritance, what is polymorphism, etc. Okay, now that is structure. Once again, this is structure given by you to explain the FCL. Where is my FCL stands? FCL stands over here. Framework classes, which contain the AD.NET, ASP.NET, window form, etc. So now, what common language specification? Why again I put the common language? Because it's supporting the multiple language. When you know the multiple language, you know the Hindi, you know the English, you know the Punjabi, Tamil. So you have some common things. Just like if we understand some sentence, so what is the corresponding value in Tamil? Just like a, just I put any sentence in English, so what is the corresponding a parallel term to Tamil language? Okay, so because you know the both language, you have to set up some specification. So earlier we used the term the .NET component language that stated that all the language .NET component language can make use of CLR and FCL, means all the language use of common language and time and framework class library. But what make a language .NET compiling language? But what make a language .NET compiling language? The answer is common language specification. Microsoft has released a small set of specification that each language should meet a qualified .NET compiling language. Means if you are, if the owner, if a vendor of language want that .NET framework support that thing, so the Microsoft release some language specification. Means your language, the programming language, will follow these standard, then .NET will support them, because overall .NET will merge all the language and produce a single output. If it is not identify the .NET framework, so it is not create a native code, as the IL is very rich language, intermediate code. Microsoft intermediate code is a very rich language. It is not necessary for a language to implement all intermediate language functionality. Alright, rather it need a small subset of its CLS to qualify .NET compiler language. Means it is meeting small subset, not all guideline given by the Microsoft. So, which is the reason why so many language, procedure, or object oriented now are running under the .NET umbrella. I mean, it's put the common. I mean, what you have this kind of a structure, this kind of a structure, this feature, this feature. So, one feature is that you should be an object oriented. You can comes under the .NET framework, because all the today's scenario, all the language is going to be object oriented. All language support the class method object concept. So, they comes under the .NET umbrella. They supported by the .NET framework. So these guidelines, which is released by the Microsoft framework, which says that you have to follow this particular standards, then you will get the support of Microsoft .NET framework to develop and deploy the application. Alright. Now, when we have different kind of language, so their data type should be common. Somewhere we have int 32, somewhere we have int 64, somewhere have only int, somewhere we have integer. So all these data type do the same thing, but their syntax is different. All right, in the terms of memory storage also. So .NET also define the common type system CTS. Like CLS, CTS is also a set of standard. Keep in mind, CLS is common language and time, CLR is common language and time, CTS common type system. All these things keep in mind. These are the abbreviation. Common type system like CLS. What is CLS? Common Language Specification. Previous one. All right. CTS is also set of standard. CTS define the basic data types that understand that IL understand. Means the different language which support the uh, Microsoft .NET framework, they have the common data type. Means if you language have unique one, no problem. When they comes under the common language runtime, so their data type will be generalized. Whether it is a int32, integer, int64, they are generalized. Because if they are not generalized, we cannot produce the MSIL or native code. Each .NET compiler language should map its data type to these standard data type. Alright, so compile language will map the data type with each other. And this is done by the CLR, not language. This is done by the CLR, which is common language runtime. This make it possible for two languages to communicate with each other by passing receiving the parameter to and from each other. Okay, so how it's possible for the two languages? Because they are passing receiving the parameter, they are intercommunicate. Language are intercommunicate to produce some common things by the CLR. For example, CTS define the type in 32. common type system define the type in 32 for integer. An integral data type of 32 bits means 32 bits means 4 bytes, which is mapped by the C sharp int. Okay, so any language type in 32 mapped with the C sharp data type int and VB.NET through its integer data type. So one is integer, one is int, and one is int32. They are all mapped together. So that is a common type system. Type means data type. Keep in mind when CTC is there, so you should know this is common data type system. All data type are generalized. Alright. So this is for today's session, and you can ask me the question and answer one by one. You can all uh, unmute. I will ask the name, then you can unmute. First, let me take the screenshot of attendance. Okay, please wait. Meanwhile, then okay. So how many students are there? Okay, only 20 people. So 20 people. Yes, I'm just asking the question. I mean, Aisha Taiba, if you have any query, you can unmute and ask me. So I will share a slide after this session. The content will you get either University Portal or Google Classroom. You are advised to join the Google Classroom. All right. Now